Welcome to Table Mannerz Podcast.
Table Mannerz.
Create your own lane with your host, Emmett Combs and Tremaine Wright.
Us against the world, let's get it.
As they share conversations about real estate,
Invest in things that you understand.
life,
I had to believe in myself like never before.
passion,
Make something you 100% love.
and career with influential people in our community. This is Table Mannerz Podcast.
Welcome to Table Mannerz. Now, before we begin introducing who we are, because this segment is to get to know us, we are going to let you know exactly what Table Mannerz is about. So as far as with Table Mannerz, we are here for a lot of things. We're here to introduce our businesses. We're here to let you know everything about real estate. And also we're here to bring different people in the community and just kind of share our world. You know, so this is for all the educators. This is for anybody that's interested in the home buying process, selling, investing, whatever it is, we got it all. And as you can see too, everything. And plus, just to let you know too, we are laid back. We got our drinks, so we want to make sure you guys got y'all. So just sit back, relax, take notes, and just have fun with us. All right, y'all ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So first thing is, again, we want to make sure you guys know exactly who we are. And I'm doing a lot of talking now, so I want one of you guys to kind of, again, introduce yourself, let people know who you are, give us some interesting facts, where you're from, let us know. You look shy, you look a little jump. You want to start?
I was about to say,
ladies first.
I'm down for that. Okay, again, my name is Shy Sanders. I am a mommy, so I'm a boss mom. I have a 5-year-old son. I have been in real estate for about 2 years now, but I've really only been active for 1 year. So over the past 11 months or so, things have really kind of taken off in my business. I was able to transition to full-time very recently.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So that has been a bit of a journey, which I'm sure we're going to get into a little bit later. I'm a middle child. I'm one of 8 siblings,
Okay.
All combined, combine them.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm one of 8 siblings. I'm smack in the middle, no matter how you slice it or dice it, from which side. I was born in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, so I moved here when I was just a baby, so I don't really say I'm from there, but that is
Okay.
where I exited the uterus.
All right. Okay.
And then, so I have a background. I went to UCF. I've been actually a lot of places. I went to Howard in DC, transferred to UCF, graduated from there, went into my field, and then I ended up getting into real estate because my day job was more so marketing and advertising for real estate developers, per se. And I was like, yeah, I need a bigger piece of that pie. So I ended up getting into real estate, and it's really been like a game changer. I recently bought a house. Thanks to real estate.
Congratulations.
So that's kind of where I am right now. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, interesting. I think we all just hit interesting phases of our life over and over and over again, right? We always think we're going to hit some destination and that it's going to kind of plateau, but it never really does. Mm-hmm. So continuously in interesting spaces.
Yeah.
For me, my name's Andrew April. So I had a background in engineering, so I felt like I had a great time kind of doing a lot of consulting type of roles in the engineering field, but I didn't necessarily feel fulfilled, and I really wanted a lot more freedom. So I, too, am a parent. I have an 11-year-old daughter who I'm, continuously proud of, even as frustrating as she is sometimes. Yeah, you know what time it is.
These kids?
And, I have some serious goals.
Okay.
He's childless over here.
Mind your business.
I have some serious goals to just, remain present in her life. And not just that, but, do everything I can to set her up and put her in a position to excel in whatever it is that she's excited about or passionate about, right? So that takes a lot of work from me and a lot of flexibility that I didn't think I had in the 9-to-5 career. So I started over.
I didn't know you had a background in engineering.
Yeah. Industrial engineering, man. Yeah, very
A little small.
Look at him. Slight flex, little flex. Industrial.
Y'all wild. But that put me into real estate, before I actually got licensed. I've only been licensed maybe 6 months and actually joined the brokerage, this is month 4. Honestly, it's only month 4 for me. But before that, I had about a year and a half doing, getting involved in fix and flips property under the mentorship of someone in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I learned a lot. And so getting over to this side, I think I've learned even, just twice as much. So it's going to be fun over the next few years to bridge the combination of both these, very entrepreneurial, sectors, I guess, of real estate.
Yeah.
But aside from that, a little bit more personal. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida.
Ooh,
From Jacksonville, Florida.
If you're from Florida, that's a must. You always got to say that when you hear Jacksonville.
You got to. Mm-hmm. I remember when people used to. I remember when people used to run when we said that, but now it's a popular thing, so that's cool. But what got me kind of out of the areas that I grew up in was basketball. So sports is very important to me. I keep sports. I keep my daughter involved in sports. I think it teaches kids a lot of life skills. And before I keep on, just go in for way too long. Yeah, that's me. You can call me Drew. Or
every time we say Drew, you're real serious.
We'll keep it
Drew.
All right, very well spoken.
The man of the hour. The man of the hour.
We do this. We can show up.
He know who he invited.
Well, y'all know I'm a little country.
You know why we here?
Y'all know I'm a little country. My tongue a little heavy, so we gonna see if I can speak as well as you
because
guys.
you from Lakeland.
Child,
Polk
don't do
County.
that. Don't do that. So, as you guys know, again, my name is Mike. I guess I give you my last name, which would be Self. Yes, it is Self, S-E-L-F. It is not an alias. I'm tired of hearing that. But yeah, my name is Mike Self. I'll be turning 34 Saturday.
Well, okay then.
No, Sunday.
Sunday. I was going to say your birthday on
Sunday. Sorry. Girl, that's the age.
You look about 23. Look about 23.
What you...
It's probably because of how selfless you are.
I'm blessed. Sir, don't do that.
It's my boy, man.
No, so I am 30. Well, I'll be 34. I am originally from Orange, New Jersey, but as Shy, I got moved down when I was a baby. So I might as well go ahead and claim Lakeland, Florida, Shy, as they say, Polk County. I've kind of hopped around to a lot of places, lived in Atlanta, lived in Phoenix, lived in San Francisco, and because of COVID, I am back here now, actually in Orlando, Florida. I have 10 kids.
Oh, my God.
I just wanted to feel included.
Zero.
I don't have no
Zero
kids.
children.
I ain't got no kids, y'all. I don't have no kids, so I ain't got no kids stories, so y'all can stay the violin for somebody else. I've been in real estate. It's going on. It'll be a year I got my license in November 24th. So I'm saying I got to join the brokerage in December. Yeah. So it's going on a year. It's been pretty fun. I guess fun fact, before I became a real estate agent, which I still am, I'm a flight attendant still as well. I've been doing that for almost 5 years now.
And he be cooking.
Yeah, and I'm also a baker. So I specialize in bundt cakes, and I also deal with dessert egg rolls. So that's my specialty. I do cook a lot, but no, I will not sell any plates, anything else. So that's my spiel.
Look,
y'all have any other interesting?
That sweet potato cupcake changed my life.
That's one of the tops.
I didn't even share with my child. I did not share.
So if you are in the Orlando, Florida area, my company is called Self's Kitchen, but we'll deal with that later. Just a little advertisement there. Thank you. Thank you,
shameless plug.
Thank you, Combs Premier. But do y'all have any other interesting facts about y'all? Can y'all think of anything that people may not know, like when they see you?
Well, I think that me and Andrew were having an interesting conversation before we started recording about the fact that both of us are bookworms.
Yeah, here you go.
And oh my God.
They always want to leave me out, but go ahead.
So I was we in our brokerage, in our chats, like we like to just give book recommendations. Emmett is a bookworm. I don't know if anybody knows that, but Emmett is a reader. I've always been a reader. I was telling Andrew before we started that anytime you saw me as a kid, there was at least 2 books in my hand, and I was probably going to finish them both in a couple of days. And then just, you grow up, life happens, you have kids, you have jobs, you got all these things going on, and you just don't really get a chance to sit down and actually pick up a book. You got audio books now, which I do not. I'm not an audio book girl. I want to turn the pages and read the book. And I do a lot of self-help, self-improvement, but I also read fantasy. Really? When I am particularly stressed out.
I wanted to ask you about that. If you just read, kind of the productivity, what they coin as self-help or anything that's, driven towards your improvement, or if you dove into novels and stuff.
I do. I do. I read 50 Shades trilogy, of course. I read, I don't know if any of you may not have heard of it because it is a little quirky, but the Children of Blood and Bone series.
Yeah, I've heard of that series.
Yes. So I just finished the Children of Virtue and Vengeance on my way back from LA. Oh my God. I was literally in the people playing. I was literally in the people playing, crying. Like it's an escape. Like a lot of people complain about like not having an escape from life, but they don't realize, they feel like once you become an adult, you can't read fun books. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna read fun books. Yeah, that actually is a pretty good series. 50 Shades, of course, everybody was like, but I read that back in college.
And you know, Sha, I've actually heard from different entrepreneurs, or excuse me, not heard, I've seen that they normally have kind of one productivity-driven or one kind of science-based type of book, and they're kind of always simultaneously reading a novel or something fantasy, you know, based or some true story. In
tandem, This is the first time I've read two non-fiction books at the same time. Whatever. Two self-help books at the same time. And I'm reading The Four Agreements and The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. And I'm reading them in tandem, which is super interesting because they have opposite messages with the same result. Oh my God.
No,
have you read
yes. I got them on my phone, I used to read them on the plane all the time.
The Four Agreements or The Subtle Art of Not? Oh.
Yeah, see, that's interesting, folks, right? So we had Mike acting like he's excluded from here. And
you be reading, you better come on here.
Just a little bit. You know, I'm a little crazy, so I got to calm down at times.
So it sounds like you enjoy audiobooks.
No, I download them on my phone because when I'm on the plane, I'll just pull out my phone and I'll just start reading.
So you like a Kindle, like an e-reader. You're an e-reader. Okay.
Yes. The Four Agreements is actually a book I go to all the time.
Really? It is one that you reread and you get something different every time.
Every single time. But the thing about it is I don't fully read it. I just feel like when I'm in that moment, I just pick it up and start off from wherever I started. And then it gives me a certain perspective at that moment. And then I'll stop and then I keep on going on with life and then pick it back up later.
Yeah.
So do you think with the changes in COVID and the changes in your flight attendant life, do you think that's changed your reading habits?
That's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, if we were to keep it strictly towards how it's affected reading habits.
I feel like I read less now. Because I feel like on a plane you have less distractions because, you just sitting in the air.
Yeah.
I deal with my first class passengers, do whatever I got to do. Once they settle, I have nothing else to do unless I'm helping the rest of the plane. But other than that, it's like a 5-6 hour flight.
So do you think it's just because you have less downtime that you read less? Would you say that you have
I feel like it's
downtime?
distractions because I'm being on the ground. I got more Wi-Fi, so I can easily be on social media.
Yeah.
I got the TV, so one of my things is instead of reading, I watch cartoons. I feel like when I have to get back into a place, I get back into my kid form and I watch cartoons. I will lay a pallet on the floor, lay on the floor and just watch cartoons all day if I have to. I feel like reading is something that I end up pushing towards if I'm really feeling like the need to. So if I feel like I'm going through, I'll pick up the Four Agreements, either I pick up the Bible, and then I'll just kind of read into it till I calm down and go on about life. So I'm not like an active reader, but I'll do it intentionally when I need to.
Yeah.
So if I were to ask both of you to give 3 benefits, it's off the top of your head, they don't have to be first, 3 benefits of reading, what would you say?
3 benefits of reading. I feel like it will, it's calming. Honestly, I read to help my speech at times. I feel like even at times when I forget certain vocab terms, I'm like, okay, Mike, you need to start back reading because you sound real ignorant at this moment. So I pick it back up so I can go ahead and get back into that practice and relate it back to real estate. You already know you have to be very independent in real estate. And real estate is not nothing where you just get your license and just take off. You have to continue on educating yourself.
Right.
So it becomes a skill to where I implement that so that way I can pick up material for real estate to enhance myself. I ain't gonna lie, I don't like reading.
Yeah.
As much as I do read, I hate reading. Yeah.
But you do it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to
Why
hear.
don't you like reading? I feel like anybody who doesn't like reading is because you were forced to read as a kid. That's just me. I feel like people who were forced to read as a kid,
back in the day, I used to love reading.
Yeah.
You know, you had the book club, scholastics, and everything like that in school.
Reading
for the
camps.
pizza. Yeah, I wanted the pizza.
Right.
Give me that free pizza. I ain't got no money. Give me the pizza. So yeah, that's my thing.
So, and I think it's interesting because from an entrepreneurial standpoint, I think you just exemplify what it means truly to be an entrepreneur, right? You end up doing the things that you don't like or you hate regardless because you know it'll make you better. And so I asked the question of what were those 3 things, and I think you actually gave me about 4. Let me see if I remember a couple of them. You said it was calming. You said it helps your own vocabulary. You just jump back in and it helps you with your own speech, right? You said it helps you self-education, right? Self-education, and I think I forgot the 4th, but you gave me 4. You definitely gave me 4, so thank you for that, Mike, and thank you for that example.
That's what I'm here for. You welcome.
My man.
I would say reading, it does a lot for me because, like I said, I've always been a reader. So for me, it's a part of it is just like tapping back into like my true self before you let the world tell you who you are. That is me. Like I love to read. It's my thing. So it brings me back to center. So that's more of a personal one. But in a life application standpoint, I would say that it definitely helps me be able to articulate what I want to say better. Because when you're a communicator, like you have to constantly do it. Like if you want to be good at communicating, you got to constantly do it. And I feel like reading helps me to, like if I don't know how to say something, I might stumble upon like a book or a chapter or something that would put it into the words that I can't find.
Yeah.
So that helps for sure. And then I would probably say the 3rd thing is it's just like on the fiction side of it, I would say it's just an escape. Like it gives my brain a chance to be immersed in something that's not my life's problems.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why I kind of keep a fantasy, something in rotation, even though I just finished The Children of Virtue and Vengeance, so now I don't know what I'm going to next fantasy-wise, but it gives me the opportunity to give my brain a break.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know if it's TMI, but like I do like have a lot of anxiety around just this transition that's happening, being a parent. I mean, you know, like you feel the need to be like in control of everything, but then something happens and you can't control it, and it's like everything, all hell breaks loose. So it gives me a chance to just turn that off, be immersed in a completely different experience, and then come back to this life with less clutter in my head.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could go on and on and on about all the benefits of reading, but those are a few for me.
Earlier in our conversation, I felt like we were both about to do the exact same thing and go in about reading. Amazing examples. And I
what
think,
are yours?
Man, very similar to yours. Like, you know, I want to say reading is fundamental. Reading is fundamental. I'll tell you, throughout the pandemic, both of you guys mentioned, for one, how expansive your vocabulary becomes and how it helps, gives you more language to, put in more information into your conversations. During the pandemic, I started realizing when I was working before I went full-time in real estate, I quickly realized, man, I'm spending days sometimes where I'm not talking to anyone at all. I'm just on my laptop, doing the work, communicating via email and et cetera. And I legit just started opening up books and I would read them out loud to myself, in the room. So I think it's helpful in that ways. Overall reading, I think top 3 things, I think it gives you experiences, right? I think it gives you experiences. I think any
shifts.
100%, right? I think there's 1,000,001 things we can all do out here in this world. We see it via videos on Instagram, people in Italy, France, et cetera, et cetera. We see it even in our colleges, in our universities, right? At colleges, they have different universities, they have different colleges. You can pick up any given book. If you're not, for example, in the nursing world, you can read about someone's nursing experiences.
Right.
You know, you can read different novels about whatever, and it takes you into that moment. No different than watching movies.
Indubitably.
In terms of concentration, you both talked about concentration and focus. I think anything that we, do these days, for the most part, we can multitask like crazy.
Yes,
right?
It's so exhausting though.
It's right, screen after screen.
You cannot
right, you can't read more than one thing you can't read more than one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And even if your mind wanders for a second, you can usually figure out, all right, wait, those 2 paragraphs I just skimmed through. Let me come back.
And that actually aggravates me when I'm reading. If my mind wanders, I feel like my eyes are crossing, and then I get an attitude.
Yeah.
I'm like, forget this.
That's a good
It
thing.
happens to me
That's a
when
good
I'm
thing.
the most stressed. Like when I have the most stuff going on and I sit down and try to read, I can't. But that's why I do it, because it forces you to be in the moment. It forces you to be present. Because if not, you're just going to be reading the same page over and over and over again. And you're going to be like, you know what, screw this. I'm not doing this no more. But it helps you train your brain to be able to focus. Because like you said, we're multitasking. 24 hours of every day, we are multitasking. Like even some people when they're sleeping, they're not really sleeping. Like they're listening for the door or, you know what I mean?
Right,
so it forces you to be focusing on one thing and it helps you to focus on other things when you're done.
Yeah, so folks, reading is fundamental, folks. All right.
We done been down this whole reading rabbit hole.
Yeah, truly. And it's a good thing, though. I think that is beneficial to anybody that's listening. And in the future, I'm pretty sure we're going to have some good book recommendations for folks,
sure.
you know.
In the meantime, if you're a real estate agent, The One Thing by Gary Keller.
Yes.
And if you just want something that's just going to break your brain, like jailbreak your mind, 4 Agreements. So The Art of Not Giving an F, The Alchemist, but everyone says The Alchemist. But those are just a few that I've read recently that's just like, it changes your perspective and it broadens your mental horizons, and we all need that.
Now, speaking of the 4 Agreements, and this is going to be a shout out to my girl Erica. Make sure when you purchase the book, you purchase the regular size book, not the mini version. She gonna kill me. I love you, sister.
Hey, I guess my last book recommendation is going to be one that I usually reread, if not once a year, once every 2 years, ever since it came out. Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me. Yeah.
I have that in my Amazon cart.
Yeah, you got to get it. You got to get it.
Is it a boy book?
It's a written letter between a father and a son.
Okay.
The father just explaining kind of what he went through a little bit in life and his adjustment and complete acceptance that there's nothing he can do about his son living the Black experience.
Yeah.
And he can't change it. His experience is going to be his, just like his father's experience was his own.
Yeah.
So,
That's
great book,
interesting.
great book.
Yeah.
Mike is ready to progress us forward.
Yes, now that we have left Oprah's book club. My God.
Wow.
My God. Okay, so moving on. So now, again, we've mentioned that we are real estate agents, and I know you guys are probably like, well, why aren't they talking about real estate? Well, again, this is who we are. We want you guys to know a lot about us, so that way you can get comfortable and just let you guys know too that we're just regular people.
Yeah.
That's it. This is how we talk. So let me ask you guys, what made you guys a real estate agent? Like, what really brought you to that form? Because there's many different reasons.
Yeah.
So what made you say, like, okay, this is the profession that I really want to dig into and stay in it?
Oh, me first? Okay.
Hey, whoever.
For me, well, I kind of touched on it earlier. My day job, or my old day job, was we would run ads for property management companies that were trying to lease up these new high-rise, luxury, ridiculously priced apartments. So then I got a batch of clients who were home builders. And I would talk to the woman and we'd be talking about their budgets and how they pick their budgets and like how much they sell these houses for. And then the gears start to turn and I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm going to get paid this amount of money to help you go make this amount of money? Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, I wonder how I could get on the other side of this. So then I started looking up, what it means to even be in real estate, because there's so many different avenues. And right now, the real estate investor is like the hot thing to do. Mm-hmm. Right. But I was like, nah, I'm not one of those people. I don't gamble with my money. Like, I want to know exactly where it's going and exactly how it's coming back. I mean, I'm getting a little bit better about it now, but I'm like, I'm not about to go flip nothing. Mm-hmm. What if I can't sell? Like, I needed a more surefire way of like making good money without taking like such big risks as you take when you are an investor. So then I looked into getting a real estate license. I ended up getting it. And then I realized like once I got into it and I actually started practicing, because again, I was dormant for almost a year after getting my license, because that was the start of the pandemic. I got my license December 2019. I signed on to Combs February of 2020, and we went into a whole world shutdown in March. So I was like, oh God, this is a great time to get into real estate. Yeah. But then once that happened, and a lot of like, if you follow like people who do investing, like people who are in the real estate industry, like they started talking about how the best way to shift wealth from generation to generation is by doing it through real estate. And like you said earlier, I want my kid to have everything I didn't. So I started really thinking like, okay, wait a minute, y'all make how much money? Mm-hmm. You made how much money in the past 3 months? Like real estate agents who were actively practicing in 2020 full time tripled and quadrupled their income from the previous year, because everything was so pent up and everybody was trying to make moves and everybody was scared to move at the same time. So what happened was you had nobody selling, a bunch of people trying to buy, trying to build wealth for their families and all of that. And we're still seeing that right now where there's low inventory. Like, that's what that means. Like, there's nobody selling, nobody wanting to sell because they're like, I don't want to lose my house if I can't find another one. Mm-hmm. And then you got everybody else like, no, I want in and I want in right now. So then I was like, oh, I got to stop sitting on the sideline. And I got my first deal, and it has been ever since.
You've been killing it.
Yeah.
You've been killing it.
No doubt. She hit me up all the time. Drew,
Look,
I got a contract, my brother. Can you take care of that?
What about you?
I think every time I get that question, it's broad for everybody, right? But I think fundamentally for me, I just didn't want ceilings anymore.
Yeah.
I think I've always been this very, driven, go-getter type of guy. And I would reach these different, places and spaces, and there were so many different levels of leadership. And even when it's quality leadership, there's still these levels of, I'm boxed in some way, whether it was my creativity for what I thought I could do for the organization or I wanted the opportunity to believe and trust in myself in a different way. In real estate, there's definitely no ceilings, whether it's, my own creativity, whether it's how much money I can make, which is huge as well, right? Because that's going to allow my family to live a different lifestyle, which I'm very, passionate about. So I would say fundamentally those two things without going real deep.
Okay.
You said something that low-key triggered me.
Oh, yeah.
You was like, you boxed in. And that was ultimately what pushed me out the corporate door and into this, because it's hard going somewhere every day, 40 plus hours a week, knowing that you can't really do what you want to do or be who you want to be, like, ever, because somebody has put you in a box. Mm-hmm. And if you're around me long enough, you hear me say, don't put me in a box. To anybody, into everybody, because don't limit what I can do based on how you see me.
Preach.
That is triggering.
Yeah, we're hoopers.
Triggering.
We're hoopers, right?
Yeah.
We box out. We don't box in.
Period.
Cool, come on.
Period.
Hey,
so it's like
you
can't do that to people, and that is one of the things that frustrated me in working just a job, even if it's a great job, even if you have a great team and it's a great career. You were an engineer, and even in that, how many people just are praying to be an engineer.
Amen.
And even in that, you're like, this is not enough. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm leaving here every day not feeling fulfilled. And I feel like we owe it to ourselves to find something that makes us whole. And for me, that was the freedom that I found in this career.
Oh, I love it, Sha.
I learned that a long time ago when I got fired for the first time from a job I had for 6 years.
Ooh.
I remember leaving the parking lot crying.
Y'all just trying to trigger
Somebody
me?
fired.
I was in the city of Atlanta. I was young. This was like my first job out of high school. That was like, it was my first job, but it was my first job as an adult.
And so you were passionate. You cared about the job. You put in work.
Honestly,
you
no.
invested 6 years.
So that's my ethics period. Regardless of whether I like it or not,
Okay.
if I'm showing up, I'm going to go ahead and do the job.
Right.
But the truth was,
Strong mindset.
I did not know how to get out. I felt like it was a push for me. So I'm happy I got fired, but it also taught me that this is not my own.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I'll apply for the job, do the job. If I lose it, fine. If not, whatever. It's funny because me and my friends, they actually asked me. They said, they asked, what was the shortest time frame that you had on the job? And I said a day. I remember
Walk in, walk out.
Yeah, I remember being at training, and I remember the trainer saying, some people don't last training. In my mind, I'm like, I'm looking for this other job, so you might be talking about me.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I got the email and I left. As far as feeling boxed in, my last time feeling like that was somewhat like that. Was working. It was a corporate America job. I was there maybe like a year and a half. I was actually growing in the company, making really good money. But no matter how high I went up in the company, I felt like my head just kept hitting the roof. So a lot of times when it comes to like an actual move or a job, I feel that God always give me whatever, and He makes the picture bigger than what I see it to be.
Right.
So I always told myself, like, okay, I want to do something that's going to allow me to fly, travel, or whatever. Then that's when the whole flight attendant situation came up. Mm-hmm. Then when COVID hit, that's when I was sitting at home. I'm like, okay, well, I still have employment. I still have a job backing me. I still have money coming in, but I just cannot sit. And I'm like, I always wanted to get into the world of entrepreneurship. I mean, well, I ran a catering service before, but I wanted to fully invest myself into something since I had the free time. And real estate was the first thing that came to mind. I've always thought about real estate, but never actually getting into it. I'm like, well, you know what? I got the time. Let me take the class. Let me save this money. Let me do what I got to do. And I jumped into it. Now that I am into it, there's so many different realms that I can touch other than just being an agent. An agent is a plus side. It adds a plus to the resources that I have, not only with the stuff that I pay for, but also with the brokerage that we're in.
Community.
Absolutely.
Comes from your
absolutely.
gang.
Right. So that actually kind of leads into the next thing as far as I was going to ask you guys, why Combs?
I think I'm like a lot of people. You tend to want to do business with those you know, and not just those you know, but those you trust. And so, when it comes to me, I was familiar with, our leader here, Emmett Combs, in a very interesting way. I actually just helped, had some fraternal ties and, supported him move from one house to another, actually. Didn't really know him at the time, but, I was just helping out, that day, met him, and it was very cool. A couple years later, I'm in Atlanta, and it was a time in my life where I was starting to decide, all right, what do I really want to do? Because I don't think this is really the move. I think it's, might be time for me to, get myself back home to Florida and move towards real estate in a different way. And so a fraternity brother of mine had a birthday party for his 2-year-old son. He had his Taco Tuesday, and I'm there, and I see Emmett. At the time, I didn't even remember his name, right, because I just helped move his house like years ago, but I remembered him, and I remember he had a house on his shirt. And it was one of his older Emmett Combs real estate t-shirts. Right. And so we just had a conversation that day, right? And so again, someone I know and someone I trust, because this is somebody we're in like a family environment. In a family environment, we're all just taking care of our kids, having a good time, being as real as, you can pretty much be around your families, right? And then when it came time for me to move, and I actually made the move, I said, you know what? Called up my fraternity brother, said, hey, remember such and such that was at your birthday party. Want to give him a call, want to get linked up. Talked a little bit, had a conversation. The minute he started talking about building generational wealth and what he wants to do for the Black community and spreading education, which we're readers, so you can imagine we're all about education. Yeah, we ain't gonna do it. We ain't gonna touch on reading, but education is so important. And I think because people aren't educated on different things, they put themselves in bad situations and they don't know it. They just didn't know. And there are a lot of folks out here in this industry that are, right, you see it all the time, predatory lenders, people who want to make moves for the money but don't have the family's best interest at heart. Right. And because they're not educated on how these different things work, they walk into a situation where they think they're good because they're going into a house and it's like, I'm getting crippled and shackled by this mortgage, or, these terms are not really setting me up to be as free as I want to be. I'm not really making as strong as a move as I think I am. So, once he touched on those few things, I said, oh yeah, this is the move. This is the move. And so it wasn't, for me at the time, it wasn't about Combs Premier. It wasn't about CPRG. It was, from what I've seen of this man and who I see him to be in the conversations we've had, this makes sense. So I'm down to grow in this way and see where it takes me. At the end of the day, it was still just a risk, right? It's still just taking a chance. But, every day I keep on getting better. Every day I keep on, growing and molding myself into the man that I want to continue to become. And it's been great. So that's my why.
Wow.
Apologies if it was very long.
No, that was amazing. That was
Shout out to Emmett.
Right. And honestly, I kind of have a similar reason why. Because when I joined Combs, it was just barely Combs Premier. It was still like Emmett Combs real estate. So it wasn't, I think there was maybe 15 of us, maybe.
Yeah.
Tremaine actually recruited me because when I was going through my whole the class, it took me a long time to finish the class. Well, I'm sure we'll get into that on another episode. But I was constantly in contact with Tremaine. And at the time, Tremaine was with ERA Grizzard, I believe, or something like that. But I just knew that he was Black.
ERA Grizzly?
ERA Grizzard.
I thought if it was Grizzly.
Era Grizzard? It might be Era Grizzard. I don't know.
If it was Grizzly, I can see Grizzly.
But he was with them. But I just knew that he was Black, he was busy, and he was successful. And like I said, I have a marketing background. So I saw his marketing, and I'm like, wherever you're getting that from, I want in. Because when I become an agent, I don't want no slappy flyers and I don't want to be like, I want myself to be right because that's my background. He was like, oh no, I do this myself. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So by the time I finished my class, he had moved over to Combs. So he's like, oh my God, you have to come here. Like, you have to come here. And I'm like, okay. Because because I was looking specifically for a Black-owned brokerage. I did not care what was what or where. I was going to work for a Black-owned brokerage. And honestly, there's not as many out there as you would think.
Yeah.
So then I got connected with him. He connected me to Tamara, actually. Tamara is the person that I met first.
Okay.
And I was telling her what was going on. I had goals to buy a house. I wasn't making a ton of money at my job at the time. I ended up making more later, but we'll get into that.
Shit, I got the bag later. But, at first I wasn't.
But I was in a tense spot with my job because I was doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I wasn't getting a whole lot of money. So I was telling her, like, I'm trying to do it. I got my son. It's just me for the most part. I don't know how to make that happen without bringing in some more money. And I sat in that office right over there, and I talked to Tamara. In the midst of me talking to Tamara, she was telling me that she had just recently got out of the corporate world, came over to Combs herself. Mm-hmm. And I was just looking at her in just pure admiration. I never told her this, so. But I was just looking at her like, wow, like you are like goals. Like you're the epitome of what a strong woman should be. And not because you're big and bold and loud, but because you like made a solid decision for yourself and it's working for you. So in the middle of our conversation, Emmett walks through the door. And I'm like, oh my God, that's the man. Like, you're Emmett Combs. He was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, I'm Emmett.
That's the man.
Literally, I'm literally like, at this point.
You said that.
At this point, I'm starstruck. I'm like, oh my God, there he is.
Oh my God.
It's Emmett. So he walks in, and you know, Emmett's a straight shooter. So he wanted the fluff. He was like, okay, well, what's up? You join in. What's your goals? What you doing? I was like, well, I want to buy a house eventually, but they're expensive right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a ton of money. So he's looking at me, okay, well, she can move here. I'm like, okay, well, I want to quit my job. He's like, oh no, don't do that. And I'm like, what you mean? And he was like, why would you do that? You would not be able to buy a house if you quit your job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but at that point, I had been on several different interviews with brokerages, and the first question they all asked me is, when am I quitting my job? And I'm like, he came
with strategy.
I'm like, so you don't even care that I'm still in. He was like, no, I'm telling you, do not quit your job until you buy your house. Stay right there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, between him and Tamara both, and that's why I had kind of a difference that I got them both in the same room. That was my first impression of Combs. And I'm like, between the two of them, they care more about my life and what I have going on and what my goals are than how much money I could potentially make working for them. And right then, I signed my paperwork that same day.
Correct. Yeah, because the thing about it is, one thing I learned about Emmett is the fact that he believes in relationships.
100%.
So regardless of whether it's going to be in real estate or something else, they're all going to bring itself around. Mm-hmm. And he's huge on that. So that's dope. That's dope.
I felt like I was with family. Like I felt comfortable. I felt like I could trust them to not just look at the dollar signs, but look at what my life is going to be like being here. And it literally has changed my life. And last year, about this time, I tweeted. I said, this time next year, my life is going to look completely different. And I pinned it to the top of my Twitter. No, you can't have my Twitter.
Manifestation.
Because, I cut up over there. But I pinned it to the top of my Twitter because every time I looked up, something was changing little by little by little. And now, my life this time last year, I was in a 1,000 square foot apartment, barely. I was making barely enough money to skim the top of my bills. I was miserable. I was uncomfortable. And now, in just 1 year, people don't understand how much can change in 1 year. And though it hasn't always been perfect, there's definitely been, moments where I wanted to punch a hole in the wall, but my life looks completely different. It didn't happen the way I thought it would happen. It didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen, but it happened exactly the way it should have happened.
Yeah.
And I literally could not be more full. I go to sleep every night and I wake up every day feeling like I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Right, I'm happy for you.
Thank you, Bree.
It's sweet.
Mike, man, Mike, you got some serious stories to follow up on.
You better come with it.
I'm just kidding, man. No pressure.
No
But
pressure.
I think we're all very interested to hear about, yours.
So, as far as with my story, I didn't really have plans on any brokerage. Combs Premier actually found me. I was out on tour. I was singing in Australia. And then I was getting ready to shoot my first movie. I was in Fast and the Furious 4. And on my way back, I had to fly I flew into Atlanta to do a connection to Australia. And then that's when I ran into Emmett at the airport.
I saw you on the credits, yeah. They were like, Mike.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. So the real story is after since y'all want to have all these strong stories. I got time for that. All these violins playing. It was this simple. I hit up a friend. He said, go to Combs. I said, all right, and sign up.
Yeah.
Everything that I did within the year of COVID was very intentional. And I, too, wanted to merge into, I wanted a black doctor. I wanted a black dentist. I wanted this. Because especially with everything that was going on at the time, I wanted to kind of put myself back into a culture that I wanted to invest in, which was my own. Which, again, people, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? Mm-hmm. So when I spoke with a friend of mine, he's an agent in Lakeland. His name is Kinsley Calistador. He's been doing it for years.
Oh, I'm Facebook friends with him.
Oh, you know Kinsley? Yeah.
I don't know him, but we're Facebook friends.
Yeah, we used to work with each other years ago at the job I got fired from. He was doing real estate then, but he was taking his class. So I hit him up and he was like, yeah, Mike, he said, I'm going to give you a few. And it's funny because I don't even think he gave me a few. We just ended up we started talking about Combs and it just kind of led with that. But he was like, I'm going to give you a few. He said, but the first one is going to be Combs Premier. It's a guy named Emmett. He said, if I was not loyal to my broker, I would be with Emmett. Maybe I shouldn't have said his name because I don't want his broker to get it. My bad, Kinsley.
I mean, that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. That's a good thing, though.
But no, it was just more so, again, the rapport, the relationship, and being that it was somebody else outside of this that believed in Emmett so much that they were like, you know what, go ahead and check him out, especially with knowing that I wanted to be with something all black, too. So I didn't even know that all black firms existed.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, cool. So I looked on the website. Everything seemed legit. Everything seemed well put together. And I love the fact that everybody looked really nice. It wasn't nothing, how, things can get. So I was like, okay, this is cool. Let me check it out. So from the starting process to everything else, it felt really good. I'm like, okay, well, this is the move for me. But the thing about being at a brokerage or choosing a brokerage is not about fully who you go into in the beginning. It's about whether they can retain you. Mm-hmm. So
people switch brokerages, like
absolutely. So you can come here, you can go to Keller Williams, with EXP, whoever. But it's all about what you're truly getting from it. So one thing that made me actually stay here was the fact that I was actually able to have a one-on-one conversation with Emmett, which sometimes that's hard because depending on how big the company is, you don't always get to have that personal conversation.
Right.
And for me, it's big when a person can take certain criticisms and hone into that. So Emmett was very open with things that I was able to see as a new agent, which I really appreciate. And that's when I had a different respect level just for himself. So I was able to fully then see the map that he was trying to create within his own company. And then, I don't know, it just felt like family from there.
Yeah.
So just the resources that we have at Combs Premier, as you say, the marketing tools are like no other. And I've learned so much within this past year. So, John, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
I think it'd be great to highlight just for the folks that are listening, either listening or watching, via YouTube. One thing to highlight from these different stories is whatever your story is, own that, right? Own your own stories. You just heard 3 different unique stories that, put us all in the places where we all believe we should be, right here in this room. Who would have thought I'd be, here with this actual real podcast equipment, doing this with 2 amazing co-hosts. I
knew it.
Mike knew it. Hey, but somebody got to have a vision.
That's all right.
God put it on my man.
I had the vision.
And when you're out there throughout your entrepreneurial journey, it's important to work with real people, authentic people. And situations like the ones described today are the ones that will tell you and show you where it is you need to go. And I think it's huge that, Emmett, just speaking on our leaders, Emmett and Tamara, they're not only receptive of criticism, like they actually asked for it. I remember at our retreat, we're upstairs in the top of this big, multi-million-dollar home.
$1.4 million house.
Crazy, right? And he's like, so, what have you got?
Yeah. It's my house.
We're at Mike's house. Yeah, right. And he's asking for feedback and criticism. Yeah. So it's important in entrepreneurship, whether you're a leader, we're all leaders, right, of our own respective companies and our own respective world. So while you're out there being a leader, remember, you need to embody something about you that says, you know what, I'm strong and firm. I believe in what I believe in, and this is what is real and what is right. But at the same time, I'm not so headstrong that I'm not receptive of criticism because I can get better and I'm not perfect. Yeah. So let's keep those little keys with you.
I definitely agree with that because that's big. Like even with even just to bring it down from like a brokerage standpoint to just a business owner standpoint, like, you know, when you go into these mom and pop places, there's like a comment card by the door because we want to know how we can better serve you. And as real estate agents, like, people don't understand, like, the same way you get to choose us, we get to choose you.
Oh, preach.
So
Preach.
that feedback is important. And I ask my clients this all the time, because how can you ask somebody to review or leave a review for your business if you don't know how their experience was?
Right.
You know how dangerous that is? They go to that Facebook page and click 1 star, you're going to be mad.
Mm-hmm.
So like I am constantly like, and even before we even get started, like, how do you want to be communicated with? Some people work all day and they want to text. Some people prefer a phone call.
It's like your business love languages.
Literally, exactly. It's like learning people's love and learning what will get them to see that you're going the extra mile to make sure that they're good.
I might integrate that into my business model.
Yeah.
You know, what are your love languages here in this room?
What make you fall in love with me?
Listen, don't get started. You already know what we call them.
Oh, man.
Don't get started.
Quiet storm.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're talking about, folks. This is,
All right,
you got
y'all.
this.
So we're gonna wrap it up soon. So we're gonna leave y'all with our last thoughts, because as you can see, we can talk, but they can talk. Y'all just saying.
Oh my God.
But no, what do y'all have? What do y'all want to leave with everybody before we come back? Because again, we are coming back, so we appreciate y'all listening in. But what are y'all last thoughts?
I was going to say, like, we just barely scratch the surface of like what we want to convey across this platform. Like, and I mean barely. Like, if this is the platform, this table, like, this is all we've done today. So my tidbit that I would like to leave people is just always be focused on moving forward. That's what we're all doing here. None of us have been in real estate, but like, we're not like 15-year, veterans, but we saw the opportunity to make ourselves that much better. And it led us all the way here to this moment right now. So I would just say, regardless of what punches you getting thrown at you right now, like, always be focused focus forward.
I love it. For me, everything is a process, right? Everything is a process, and growth happens incrementally. If you're in the gym and you want to lift 150 pounds, but you can only lift 100 right now, then you do that 100. The next week, you add on another 10. The week after that, you add on another 10. And then all of a sudden, you make your way up to that 150. I think this podcast is very similar. I think all of us are going to grow, incrementally. I think, so if you're somebody in the entrepreneurial world, entrepreneurial space, it's important to keep, the right people around you, the right things in your ears, pay attention to your inputs, right? Because your inputs are essentially going to equate your outputs, right? So have the right things in your ear, the right type of people. Hopefully we are the right types of people. And also, if you are seasoned, if you're a veteran, this is for you too. I was having a conversation with somebody here in the office, actually, and I mentioned that, it's interesting, being a rookie again, being that I'm not, a seasoned engineer or working professionally as a seasoned engineer. It's interesting being a rookie, but I like that we all continue to go through this everlasting cycle of being a teacher and a student at the same time. So even if you have been in real estate for a long time and you're very successful, it may be very essential for you to dive back to the fundamentals and even just get a little engaged with these, kind of youthful spirits that we have here as we keep incrementally growing and changing.
You say youthful spirits?
Yes.
I'm
youthful.
more than just a spirit.
Oh.
I'm youthful, period.
Yeah, my bad, Mike.
Okay.
No disrespect. But that's what I leave you with.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. I guess for me, the last thing I'm going to leave is do not be afraid to change you. And what I mean by that is,
That hit me right here.
do not be afraid to look yourself in the mirror and admire the change and accept the change. Because sometimes we are okay with changing the things around ourselves when it comes to the people, when it comes to the job and this and that. Of course, we're so easy to point our fingers. Oh, I don't want to talk to this person because of this. I don't want to do this. And sometimes we forget that we are a mirror of who we deal with. We are a mirror of our company. So I might not like something that I see in you, but that's because I don't like it with seeing it myself. So be okay with being able to change your internal process because it's necessary. I've had to change myself So many times in real estate,
Yeah.
I had to kill my pride.
Yeah.
Be humble.
So many times in real
This
estate.
industry will humble you.
Because there will be things that, especially because you're doing so much for free. You are.
And you got something to say.
He got triggered. My bad. But no, because I would tell myself like, oh, I ain't doing that. Oh, this person. Yeah, I say other words, or the choice of words. But I say, oh, I ain't getting paid for this. Oh, I ain't doing this. Oh, well, I gotta wake up early. Why I gotta do? But it's all a part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand also, that's why it's important to have your business plan, your blueprint, to know what part of the process that you want to endure, that you want to be okay with doing. And also you have to understand too, and I say this all the time now, and it's funny, I just heard it again during a sermon on this past Sunday, is in order to be a leader, you have to be a servant. So you can't be the type of person where you're just going to stand there and point your finger all day.
That's a dictator.
It's a dictator. It's not a leader.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Correct. Which again goes back into building relationships. You can't keep the relationships. You can't establish a business if you're not willing to serve at the same time. So
you better come on, Pastor Mike.
Just a little bit. You know, I done had this holy wine.
I'm gonna say, preach, preacher.
So yeah, so that's what we are going to leave you guys with. So we're going to go ahead and cut it because I know we kind of made it a little lengthy. Again, we can talk. So these things might be 30 minutes. They may be an hour. We never know. But we want to make sure you guys get the best of knowledge. And we are also hoping that you guys enjoyed it and hopefully it was entertaining. I know we got a lot of serious moments because, you know.
It's a little heavy.
That's how we do. That's how we do a little bit. But we are going to end. Do y'all want to say anything else?
Oh, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for tuning in. Mike is gonna dress us the rest of the time.
You got something to say? Good.
I was gonna say the jingle.
Well, say the jingle, friend. So we got some things that we're gonna try to work on.
Look,
and hopefully it works out. If not, we're gonna change it. But go ahead and let them know what we're about to do, friend. It's right here. I already had it right there for you.
We just gonna leave you with the fact that there is always space and opportunity for everybody to eat. But make sure you do not forget your table manners.
All right. Once again, thank you guys for joining us today. You want to keep that? You like that? You feel good about that?
I like that.
She made that, y'all. So y'all clap for her.
All right, folks. Don't forget your table manners.
All right. We are out. Thank you.